Good morning, Bob. Don't show your butt. This is a family channel. What are you thinking? Good morning, Suzanne. He's already found the brush. Good morning, Scott. Bear with me. I had a cold a couple weeks ago. I'm still not 100% over it. So if I'm coughing a little bit, that's why. Hey, Darth. Yeah, it's good to be back. I actually ended up getting home a day early last week, and so just kind of took a couple days off. I planned to come back like Tuesday night and then have Wednesday to unpack the van and kind of get reacclimated before I went back to work. But I actually made it home by Monday night. So that was good. I left my vlog location in New Mexico at about noon and just said, okay, well, if I just pedal to the metal, and I should be home by like 8:30. I said, that's worth it. Felt good to sleep in my own bed. Good morning, Wendy. Yeah, it's my fur ball. The clock still freaks him out a little bit. Hey, top vloggers. How was it? How was what? The trip? The trip was good. I'm glad I got a chance to drive back. I had a lot of fun places I stopped. You've seen a couple of them already. I got a couple more videos that haven't come out yet. What did I bring back with me? Well, the rock that you saw on the cover photo was one thing. That was something I got from the petrified forest. This piece right here, actually. I thought that was kind of cool looking with all kind of the quartzy stuff in the middle. Nice piece of petrified wood, right? Looks pretty plain in the back, but they cut it and polished it. It looks really nice. Any crazy weather in Texas? It's just been cold. They had kind of an ice storm when I was away, so there was a little bit of like frost on the ground when I got back, but it's all gone. But it's still cold. It's funny, the water in my rain barrel froze solid, and I still haven't gotten it unfrozen yet. Wasn't sure if it was a rock or a beef patty. Actually, it's neither. It's wood. Sounds like wood, right? My mom's funeral was a nice send off. There was a lot of family that came. Um, Her brother was there. He was unable to attend my dad's funeral because of all the fears of COVID, but he was able to be there. It was good to see him and my cousin from Minnesota, who I haven't seen in a long time, and her daughter, who came out. Also, it was good to see them. My uncle on my dad's side came out. Um, some friends and fat cousins from San Diego. They came up, and it was fun. It was fun to be there. I mean, it was good to see everybody. it's never fun at a funeral, but you'd think with considering the first three letters of funeral are FUN, you'd think they'd be more fun, but it wasn't really that much fun. It was good to see everybody though. Yeah, it's a nice piece, isn't it? I just really like the grain in it. Sorry, I gotta trying to deal with the glare here. It's a beautiful piece. I knew I wasn't going to be able to actually pick up anything from out in the nature area, and because that's like national park, you can't do that. But it was uh, it was in the gift shop, and I guess that piece isn't even um, from the park itself. That was something I got from elsewhere. Yeah, it is petrified wood. Yeah, I know. That was really what kind of caught my attention about it is how beautiful it was. They had a whole bunch of pieces on sale, and I just thought that one was the nicest one, the nicest looking one. No, not necessarily tired. I'm just getting old. Hey, Elvis. It does sort of look like a slice of ham, doesn't it? Wouldn't want to eat it though. It's really hard. It'll break your teeth. Yeah, I was in California for my mom's funeral last week. Actually, it was almost 2 weeks ago now, wasn't it? Because it was 2 weeks ago today when I did a live stream, and then the day after that, Monday, was when I went to the airport. I did bring back the family Bible. That's this thing right here. I did get that, so I'm very, very happy about that. I don't know. I can't even figure out when this thing was published. There isn't a year in it, so far as I can find. It's got my grandfather's name on it. That's my dad's dad. And like I said, the thing I was really, really interested in was this right here in the front. Uh, Somebody has gone in and marked birth, in some case, death dates of people going back generations. And apparently, somebody added, even though it belonged to my grandfather, there's stuff from my mom's side also. But it's got the date that my grandfather on my dad's side married my grandmother, August 28th, 1937. Some children. There was a baby boy apparently born August 1st, 1942, that lived for 4 hours. My dad's birth is in there, November 2, 1938. My uncle's birth is in there, December 9, 1943. Uh, the day that my mom and my dad married, July 27, 1963. I'm in there. My sister's in there. My sister marrying her husband is in there, and her kids are in there. And then we go back one before here, the page before. There's even more names in there. People going back even further and further here. I see names that are like my grandmother's on my dad's side. Her maiden name. I see dates going back to 1850, 1851. So yeah, I'm going to definitely need to take a look at this and spend some time with this. Like I said, I'm finding it interesting that there isn't a publishing date. So I don't know how old the Bible is, but uh, I brought it back with me. I got it, so that is going to be definitely a prize part of my collection. Oh, there's Rhonda. Okay, maybe I'm not going to have to carry the whole thing. Yeah, well, like I said, I have it now, so I'm very, very cool. I'm very glad that I have that. The Bible's in pretty rough shape. The binding's coming apart, but the stuff that's in it is what's really important. How many days was I on the road? I left California on Friday morning. I left my because the funeral was on Tuesday. We hung out in Southern California on Wednesday, so we could kind of, hang out with family and kind of, reacclimate, reconnect with family members I haven't seen for a while. Um, and then on Thursday we drove up to Sacramento with my sister. At that point, I rented the van and loaded everything up. And on Friday morning, I left Sacramento, made it to Needles, California, which is right on the Arizona border uh, with California. I spent the night there, and then got back to Texas basically on Monday night. I didn't really go all out for hotels. I was looking for budget stuff. So it was Motel 6, basic stuff. Just provide a room and warmth and a bathroom. That was all I really needed. I didn't want to waste a whole bunch of money. Thank you, Elvis. I appreciate that. I did. I did. I brought back two clocks. In fact, one of them you heard chiming a little bit ago. There's Rhonda. Yeah, well, being 1,800 miles apart from your sister makes it easier to get along. But the truth is, we've gotten along pretty well since we were adults. We fought like brothers and sisters when we were kids, but I was on I-40 a bit. Yeah, I'm 3 years older than my sister. It's supposed to maybe be raining tonight. It's funny, the rain's coming in tonight, and it's going to ironically warm everything up. Yeah, I was thrilled to go to the crater, to the Meteor crater. That's something I've wanted to see, a long, long time. I've seen all sorts of documentaries because I love stories about meteors and asteroids and comets and stuff like that. Anything science, science related, astronomy related, and so I've seen all sorts of documentaries that mention the meteor crater, but I've never seen it in person. It was thrilling to be there. Yeah, it's too bad that museum was closed. That was supposed to be kind of a setup to the meteor crater one because the meteor crater, obviously that was a meteor, and I was going to see the meteor at the museum too. It's supposed to be kind of a one-two punch. Yeah, that's right. The ending of Starman was filmed at Meteor Crater. I guess that's where at the end of the movie. I haven't seen the movie since it was out, but it seems to me a big, round, circular spaceship landed in Meteor Crater to pick him up at the end. Yeah, it was fun to do it. It was a fun drive. I enjoy actually getting out on the road and seeing all that. Oh, the cats are fine. Yeah, you know, Bite gave me the cold shoulder for about 2 hours when I got back, but it wasn't long and he was just back to being who he was. Well, today we're going with a blue solo cup, so we're gonna have to change the song. Well, ultimately, I wanted to rent it like a moving van kind of thing. Well, ultimately, I wanted to rent it like a moving van kind of thing. But there were complications with that. Uh, a number of years ago, I kind of got fed up with having credit cards, and so I cut up all my credit cards. And I haven't had a credit card. I've just kind of lived on what I make for the past probably 10 years or so. But there's certain car rental places that won't rent you things if you don't have a major credit card. I just have an ATM card, and that doesn't quite count as the same. So that caused some trouble. But we found another rental place that would rent me a minivan, and with the minivan, the seats would all fold down and come out, and so it was enough so that I could put the two clocks in there and all the stuff I brought back. What museum are you going to go see, Bill? Just one day in Sacramento. It wasn't even really that because arrived in Sacramento about noon on Thursday and left about 6 a.m. on Friday. Well, I decided I'm going to probably get one. Part of the reason I cut up the credit cards years ago is because I kept running them up to their limit, and I think I'm more fiscally responsible now. So we'll use it for emergencies and we'll pay it off really quick. Yeah, that's the grandfather clock that I got from my mom. One of two clocks. The other one I have kind of up on the mantle above the fireplace. Got a little snow, huh? Oh, I actually do have a Lowe's card, but I don't count that. 16 inches of snow. That sounds like fun. The museum that you're a docent at. Okay. Negative 24. That's a little cold. Thank you, Linda. I appreciate that. Gotta make some payments, huh? Yeah, it's like what 36 here. And but we are supposed to have some rain coming in tonight. And ironically, that's gonna warm things up. We're gonna be up into the 50s uh starting tomorrow. So you signed the online book. Is that the thing at the mortuary? I haven't even looked. I'll have to go look at that. lot of shoveling in Chicago, I bet. It's whatever the girls call nose sticking cold, huh? Is that colder than like tongue sticking cold? I'm thinking, when you put your tongue on something that's frozen. Yeah, Christmas story, exactly. You breathe in, the sides of your nose get stuck. Okay, I was wondering what that was. Or Dumb and Dumber, yeah, that's another one. I don't know what other movies are there where people get their tongue stuck to something metal with because it's cold. Because you're right, Dumb and Dumber and Christmas Story both have scenes like that. But they won't go outside. Okay, well, I guess I don't blame them. I don't go out very much when it's really, really cold out either. What was it said? Minus 24? That's really cold. I've only been in minus 24, I think, once. And your brother did it several times when he was little. That's awesome. Didn't do it just once and learn his lesson. No, no, you got to do it a couple times. That's science for you. You got to test your theories here. Maybe it was something else that caused your tongue to get stuck to that metal. A couple of people who aren't fans of Dumb and Dumber. I like it when it snows. I'm a little disappointed I missed the ice storm. Your brother's elevator didn't go all the way to the top floor. Yeah, I know the type. Kind of dumb, but model cute, huh? Yeah, I know the type. I think the last I heard from Jordan is he sent me condolences about my mom. Did I eat anything noteworthy? Honestly, I just ate at little diners and stuff like that. When I went to Barstow for that museum, I found a little kind of hole in the wall Mexican place that was really, actually really good. Um, it was just right down the road from it, and it was right before I got back on the freeway. And it was really, really good. I looked at the prices initially and said, "This is really expensive," but for the amount of food that I got, it was a huge meal, huge plate of food that came. So it was definitely worth it. Other places, just little diners and stuff like that that I had that was close by that would serve something for breakfast or something for dinner. Nothing really noteworthy. Honestly, when I was in Southern California, one of the things I was craving was a Carl's Jr. hamburger. And so one night I had one of those. There was one of those that was like walking distance from the hotel. What was my favorite place I visited? The parks. Meteor Crater was awesome. The Petrified Forest was awesome. There's a video coming up on the Carlsbad Caverns, uh, and that was awesome. I haven't even edited that video. I was hoping to have it go live today, but I don't think I'm going to get it edited in time to do it. So we'll go live tomorrow, and those I think were my three favorite things because they were all really, really exciting. But I got three more videos that are shot and I haven't edited yet, so they'll be coming up as soon as they're ready. And I've got maybe an idea for another video or two. So I don't know if we'll do those this week or just take the week off. Take the weekend off because that's what I am now is on my weekend, um, and maybe do the other videos I'm thinking about next week. But we'll see. Oh yeah, I forgot. I forgot to turn on the lights over the arch, didn't I? Yeah, sometimes I forget to turn that stuff on. We can turn them on. That's not that big a deal. That's a good one. Got to have you guys watch out for me here from time to time. You dinner one time in Bucksnort, Tennessee. Huh. Yeah. The beach live stream. That's what that was really. It was cold, and yeah, I didn't really want wasn't interested in getting anywhere near the water, but it was fun to be down there. Yeah, I'm fired. Guess we'll just cancel the live stream now. Just kidding. Yeah, in reality, this is all your fault, Rhonda. Yeah, they've always been multicolor lights. It's a three-color LED, and when you blend the three different colors together, you can get most of the colors. Charlotte thinks I'm hilarious. Okay, that's cool. Looks like Skittles. There you go. I like Skittles. Skittles are probably one of my favorite candies. Although I've been into the Jolly Ranchers lately too. They were, I've always loved Jolly Ranchers, but my dad was into Jolly Ranchers right at the end because his mouth always got dry. And whenever he'd try and drink something, he'd end up aspirating it and almost choking on it. So Skittles were something he could do to keep his mouth moist and not end up gagging on it. And so, we bought him Skittles and, from time to time, and he'd eat a lot of those at the end. And you may recall when I drove back um, after seeing my dad a couple of years ago, and I went to his grave. I left a couple Skittle or a couple Jolly Ranchers on his grave. Cat's got the zoomies going. Yvonne needs her coffee, huh? Tic Tacs are good too. Although I've been sucking on Altoids, they're kind of the same thing too. Yeah, well, unfortunately, it's a part of life. I take comfort in the fact that she's not in pain anymore and she's with my dad again. So, that's the positive end of this. Although I do miss her weekly telephone calls. I miss the fact that she would just randomly call into the live stream. Won't have any more of that happening, but that's the way it goes. I enjoyed that time my dad called into the live stream too. So I'm glad I've got recordings of that. Tic Tacs is medicine, huh? That's a good one. The girls talk to Nana every day when they say their prayers. I know they love that. I know my mom loves that. You love the clock. Which clock is that? With all the clocks that have accumulated, my house is starting to look like the opening scene of Back to the Future. Yeah, that's what the clock I have does now too. Although I got to fix it. It does a da 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 part, but it doesn't do the bonging off of the hours. So there's something wrong inside, and we're gonna have to look at that. Yeah, the clock is a little slow. That's the least of the problems. That's a simple fix. I want to get the chimes working first, and I think that's maybe going to be one of the vlogs I'm going to do in the next week or two because I actually had to take the grandfather clock apart a little bit um, because uh, when my mom was still in the apartment, she fell a bunch of times, and one of the times she fell, she was trying to wind the clock, and she ended up pulling the clock over on top of her. And fortunately, there doesn't appear to have been any serious damage to the clock, but one of the chains for one of the weights came off the track. And so I had to take the clock partially apart to get that chain restrung properly. But we did get that going, and the clock is running, but the chimes aren't working right. So I want to take it apart again and see if I can figure out what's going on in there. You want to see the clock? As if I expect anyone to come up and say, no, we don't want to see that. That's an ugly clock. Let's go mobile here. I unplug myself. Give me a second here. I'm going to go over here. And that's the clock right there that you hear gonging every once in a while here. Like I said, it was amazing that when my mom pulled it over on her, she didn't break any of the glass or anything like that. And in fact, the only problem seems to be that that this weight isn't going down. This weight here is the one that does the part of the chimes. The weight on the right down here at the bottom does the other chimes. And the center one, this is the one that came off the track. That's the one that controls the pendulum. But yeah, it's a beautiful clock, isn't it? And it's keeping decent time. It's about 5 minutes late right now, but that's a simple fix. It's easy to adjust that, and we'll get that fixed once I got the rest of it working. Now this is the one that's the family heirloom. This is the other clock that I brought back. This one's more than 100 years old, and it was in my I guess it came from like a great grandparent or something like that, and it was in my mom's family for a long time. It was my dad's den for a while, and then in my mom's apartment in Sacramento. And she never had it running because she thought it was too loud for the apartment. Now this one got damaged a little bit on the front on the trip back. Well, even not even on the trip back. Just in the short trip between my mom's apartment and my sister's house, it got damaged. There's a glass panel that's on the front here that broke, and that's really disappointing because it had some beautiful like lace work on it, make it look like there was like curtains in there, and that broke. Also, the top of the clock here broke off also, but I think I can fix that. The glass is going to be a little bit more of a challenge. Fortunately, I have most of the glass, and it stayed within the frame pretty well, and so I taped it together and held it together. So even though it's broken into 40 or 50 pieces, I have most of the glass, including all of the paintwork. So hopefully I can get some glass person here to reproduce that piece and maybe screen print the lacy image on it and get that to go. That's going to be a bit of a challenge, but and then this one also doesn't work. The chimes don't work, but I think it's just maybe knocked out of alignment a little bit, because this is the hammer here, and it's not even in the right position to hit the chime. So I think maybe it got bent a little bit, and maybe I can bend it back into shape. But I'm going to have to look at that one. That's going to take a little bit more time. I am amazed right now that it actually works. I don't have it running right now because I was told, and I don't really know a lot about it, but I was told that it's really tricky to reset the time on the clock. It's not just one of those where you just want to move the hands. And so what I've done is, since the clock is about an hour and a half behind, what I did is just stopped it. I'm going to let the time catch up, and then we'll start the pendulum again when the time comes. But I got to spend some time on this one. This one needs work. This one needs a lot of work. So that's going to be a project here. I think the grandfather clock behind me will be a little easier to fix, but I'm going to have to look at that too. All right, let's get plugged back in here. Give me a second. Got to get the power on here because I want to be plugged in so I don't end up having to drain my battery in the middle. That's really embarrassing when you're doing a live stream and your battery dies and you have to end it. Let's see, what did I miss here? I haven't looked at the comments ever since we went walkabout here, so. Gotta back up here and read some of these comments. Yeah, that's a moon dial on the clock, and that was obviously something that I wanted to have perfectly calibrated. So once I got the clock in here and running again, that was one of the first things I did is that, okay, where are we in the lunar cycle so that I can set that. How old is the grandfather clock? The grandfather clock is probably about 45 years old. It was something that my grandfather was going to, well, he bought a couple of them, one for himself and his house, one for my mom and our family, and one for my uncle, his other son. And we each got one. And unfortunately, he bought the clock and he was going to put them together, but he did it at the end of his life. And the truth is, he wasn't very healthy at the end and couldn't put it together. So my dad and I ended up putting that together, many, many years ago, back in the late 70s, probably. What happened to my mom? Yeah, she passed away about a month ago. Hey, Jeff. I think the clock is actually Swedish. Yeah, I'm hoping I can find some glass maker who can do that. Yeah, the lace itself. Let me show you the piece here that I got. I have it just in a safe place right now because I used a bunch of packing tape to tape it together on the back. Yeah, you can see the kind of lace curtains on the glass here. And that seems to be just kind of screen printed on it. It's on this side here. It's on the front side. And so that's why I taped it in the back just to hold all the pieces together. But I think, somebody will be able to hopefully, the piece of glass shouldn't be hard to do. It's a piece that goes like this and across like this and down. So I'm missing a little bit of it up here, but there's none of the etching up here. All of the etching is at the bottom. So hopefully, somebody can help me figure out who can do the glass and maybe who can do the screen printing on it. I'm hoping they'll be able to reproduce it from the piece I have, because I could probably scan this into the computer and remove the cracks because most of the cracks aren't through the lace part. Most of the cracks are up here because it looks like something hit it right about here and it just shattered at that point. And a couple of the cracks went across the lace work, but most of it is above the lace work. So, like I said, I'm hoping I can reproduce this. And the fact that I was able to save the piece despite all the cracks that are in it, I don't know. We'll see. Get ourselves back in live stream position here. Yeah, there's a guy here that well, not in Waco. It's about 40 miles from Waco that does clock repair. He's got a clock that I've had, the one that's usually on this shelf here. He's had it for almost a year, and that's what he said he needed about a year. That's how much of a backlog that he has. So hopefully in the next month or two, I'll hear from him and it's done. But I don't know. I'd love to have him work on the rest of these clocks here, but because I got three other clocks now that need some work, but I'm concerned, just how long it takes him, and I'm not sure even what this is going to cost. So I don't know. We're going to figure that out. Let's see. What else am I missing? I'm still trying to catch up from the comments when I went walkabout. Yeah, they might be able to laser etch it. That would be cool if I can find somebody that can do that. Or it looks like I said, it looks like that was like screen printed or something like that. I know beans make me musical. All right, we're losing Jeff. He's going to have his lunch here. That's how it usually works. We get him for a few minutes after church, between church and lunch, and off he goes. Homemade hamburger helper. See, the chimes work fine. It's just when it gets to the top of the hour, it doesn't chime out the hour. So I have an idea what the problem is, but we'll see. I got to take the clock out of the case again. Well, I'm glad we chose this. Yeah, it doesn't do the bong 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 part. And hopefully that's just getting it out and looking at it. What I want to do is build some sort of a stand that can temporarily hold the clock outside of the case so I can see kind of what the mechanism's doing inside and maybe what it's not doing. And we'll see. Logan says it sounds like church. Yeah, it does sort of, doesn't it? Yeah, the clock is bongless. I don't know if that's a word or not, but I know what you mean. Now, normally I wouldn't have done a bong there because that was the 11:45 hour. Like I said, it's about currently about 6 minutes late. But adjusting the time is easy. Once I got the rest of the clock working, then we'll work on getting it to hold time better. And it's only a couple minutes off. It's been running for about 4 days, and it's about 6 minutes late. So that's a simple adjustment. We'll get that dialed in real quick. Yeah, I got that cuckoo clock that I got from my dad, and it took a little while to get that one dialed in too. But that one loses about a minute a week, and that's about as good as you're going to get from a manual clock. You run about 6 minutes behind too. Okay, well, we need to adjust your pendulum then. If you were a guy, that would have been a really disturbing comment. Yeah, I don't want to drive all the way to East Texas. So, it concerned me a lot having bringing both of those clocks home because basically I laid them down on their back, and I don't think clocks are really you're supposed to do that, but I didn't want to have them upright either. I couldn't do that with a grandfather clock because it's 6 feet tall, and even that clock that was that 100-year-old clock that I showed you, it was. I definitely didn't want to run that one upright because it would fall over and we get more damage on it. So the only thing to do, I thought, was to lay them on their back. And the grandfather clock seems to have done just fine. Uh, I don't think the hammers were working correctly in my mom's apartment. So, because they were, I was testing the whole thing and it wasn't doing the bonging there either. So maybe that was part of the damage when it fell over on my mom. And hopefully I can figure out what that is. I didn't realize that Tracy was checking out. Sometimes I'm talking here and I'm not paying attention to what's going on. How rude, huh? Bring all you people in here for a live stream and then I'm not even paying attention to what you're saying. Yeah, it was bongless there too, I think. See that the raving maniac, that might be more me. Never been a rave person. Music sucks. You're pretty calm except with flies in the house, then you're a maniac like that. Yeah, it does sound like that needs repair. I'm in terms of, especially with the really old clock, I need to find somebody who's old school enough to do repairs and not just replacement. A lot of times with clock repairs, they won't actually just, oh, this one little piece is out of alignment. They'll replace the whole mechanism. And as far as I'm concerned, it's no longer the same clock when you do that. That's what I like about this guy I found. Yeah, about 40 miles from here, is that he's old school. Part of what's taken so long with them with that clock is that he literally took it apart and cleaned every part. Or so he says. I haven't seen the clock in like 10 months. So my mom's even noticed a couple times that she'd watch the live stream that the clock wasn't there and she wondered about it. Yeah, I'm sure that's what a lot of the clocks of these clocks are too, with the exception of the cuckoo clock. I think the cuckoo clock is mostly wood, maybe all wood, except for the weights. The trip was nice. I got to see some fun things on the way back, and this country is beautiful. It's people think, oh, it's just long and nothing there, but it is a very beautiful place. In fact, I'm gonna do a video. There were a lot of times where I just set the camera on the dashboard and like filmed like a minute or two or five of the trip. When we're going through some beautiful scenery. And in a couple of days, I'm going to post a video called "America the Beautiful." That's going to be just the trip. It's just going to be. It's not going to be me talking very much. It's just going to be, uh, footage of the trip. And it was kind of fun too because a lot of the trip there was snow on the ground. So it didn't snow really hard, but there was enough snow that you could see it along the sides of the roads, and you saw it in the video in at Meteor Crater because that was definitely snow on the far side of the crater. Didn't see a lot of snow out at the at the petrified forest, but it was cold for much of the trip back. Yeah, yeah, it wasn't really bad. My sister and brother-in-law were a little concerned me going over the Rocky Mountains because a lot of the area east of them was, snowed in and they weren't letting people through unless they had chains. Well, I went far enough south that while when I went over the mountains, there was some snow. It wasn't any on the roads. The roads were all dry, and it was just pretty out there. Well, there's a lot of places that I want to visit at some point. I halfway thought of, I thought for about 5 seconds, of stopping at the Grand Canyon, but the Grand Canyon isn't something you stop and spend a couple hours there and leave. Grand Canyon is a place that's got to be a destination where you spend a couple days there because you got to go hiking. You got to look at it from different angles. Thank you, Breck. It's good to be home. I was really impressed with the petrified forest. I drove around a lot in that park. I only had like about an hour to do it, and I asked the guy at the gate when I went in, he's like, "Okay, where's the place? That I should say?" And he said, "Oh yeah, you got to go to this particular place." And said, "Just follow this road for like 10 miles, for 18 miles or whatever, and look for the signs." And I got a chance to get out and walk around out there, and it was fun seeing all the petrified wood that was out there. Yeah, the a meteor crater especially, you can't take that. You can't appreciate that place, um, in video. You have to see it yourself. And Niagara Falls is another place that you'd have to see for yourself. I agree. And that's why I still want to go to like Yellowstone at some point too. The video that's going up tomorrow is going to be my video of the Carlsbad Caverns. And during the tour of the Carlsbad Caverns, they actually mentioned that um, it was that initially when people saw it or heard about the Carlsbad Caverns, they thought these are too crazy to be real. It can't be real. And I was thinking that was the same thing um, as like Yellowstone. You know, when people came back and talked about the tide pools and the geysers, and people said that can't possibly be true. What were you on? Yeah, yeah, Jordan. Petrified Forest was amazing. I really wish I'd spent more time there, and I got to spend about 4 hours at Carlsbad Caverns, and I got a lot of video of that. In fact, that's the first video I've ever shot where I actually filled up the SD card and had to stop filming in the middle. It wasn't really the middle. I had maybe 10 or 15 minutes more of the tour to go on, but Carlsbad Caverns is just amazing. And it's funny because the Petrified Forest wasn't even didn't even make it onto my final itinerary. It was something I said, oh, I want to see the Petrified Forest, and then after I kind of calculated everything, I kind of thought to myself, I don't know if I'm going to have time for that, and I ended up dropping that off the list. But by the time I got out of Meteor Crater, it was still a lot of I was a little ahead of time, so I decided to uh, to take the plunge, and I'm glad I did. That place was amazing. Like I said, I got to go back and check out that place more because that was like one of maybe half a dozen places in that park that you can go and look at. I started on Friday morning and I got home on Monday night. So the first night I made it to Needles, California, spent the night there. Uh, Next day I went to Meteor Crater and then also the Petrified Forest and made it to, what was it, Gallup, New Mexico. I spent the night there. The next day I visited Roswell and a kind of fun little roadside attraction before making it all the way to um, Carlsbad, New Mexico. So I'd be ready for the caverns the next day, and then after the caverns, I just gunned it home. I did 550 miles starting at noon. Got in about 9:30. There's Susan. I halfway thought on that last day of going halfway home and stopping there, but once I got done with Carlsbad Caverns about noon, I guess. I said, you know what? GPS says I'll be home at 9. I'll go a little faster than the speed limit. I'll probably make up some time, and it'd be nice to be home tonight. So I just gunned it all the way home. It was a fun trip, though. Love the videos. Do I ever get lonely on the travels? No, not really. I'm kind of a loner to begin with, so I enjoy just kind of being out there by myself. And the videos aren't done yet. I got 3 more videos that I've shot already and an idea for 2 more. So I was going to try and have another video up today, but there just wasn't enough time to get it edited. That's going to be the Carlsbad Caverns, and I don't know. That's going to be a long video. That might be 45 minutes or an hour. I don't know. Like I said, I filled up my SD card with that one. Actually, had to get done with the tour, go out to the car quickly, unload the SD card to the laptop so that I could do the outro. Yeah, I enjoyed the meteor crater video too. In fact, I got a couple of cool souvenirs from there. That's actually a piece of the meteor that hit the ground 50,000 years ago. I guess that was in part of the strewn field. So that's cool. It's mostly iron, so it's cool because a magnet sticks to it. So that was fun. I also got this, and this is for my rock collection. And I just love the colors and the bling in this. So yeah, that's a nice piece. I mean, look at all the colors in that. Beautiful, huh? Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how the Carlsbad Caverns video comes out. Any out of country trips? No, I don't see myself doing a lot of that. No, that one doesn't respond to the black light. I didn't think it would. It doesn't look like the kind of thing that would. I saw a few things in some of the rock shops that I saw along the way, but including a couple of things I already had samples of. That would make a great engagement ring. This thing, I don't know. I don't think it would fit on my finger very well. I don't know. Can you imagine walking around with a stone like that? I don't know. It'd be great if you got in a fist fight. Yeah. Right? That rock's kind of sharp, so it cuts you up pretty well. It is. It is really. That's. I don't necessarily get rocks because it's something I don't have. It's got to be something that speaks to me. And one of the things that kind of catches my attention is really sparkly things like that. I love how nature can do that kind of stuff. I mean, look at all the colors in that. Isn't that insane? You know me, the rock hound. Yeah, I've always really been into rocks. So no, it wasn't really that windy when I was there. You heard a little bit of the wind, but it wasn't really bad. It was cold, but even then, not that cold. Nobody would mess with me. No, you're right. With like brass knuckles like that, that would really mess you up. Yeah, well, I mean, there was a little bit of wind, but it wasn't like Jordan was describing it, where he said it was so bad that he thought it was going to blow the camera out of his hand. It wasn't anything like that. It was actually pretty nice that day. You hit that thing on your hand, you'll mess with you. That's true. Like I said, that thing's pretty sharp. You hit somebody in the face with that, it's going to ruin their day. To say nothing of the fact that the front end is pretty sharp. You could do a kind of thing with that. Yeah, yeah, I love stuff like that. Where's Bite? Bite got freaked out when the grandfather clock went off, and so he kind of ran away from that. Yeah, right. And their week, and their month, and their year. Yeah, probably. And of course, I showed you the piece of petrified wood I got from the petrified forest. I just thought that was a really pretty piece. I wanted to get a nice piece of petrified wood, and I wasn't going to be able to get anything from the park, so I just went with that. I thought that was pretty. I like all the different layers, and there's almost a crystal in the middle. Very nice piece. Very happy to have that. Yeah, I don't know. Bite's gonna have to get used to the clocks. Let's see. I rearranged the house a little bit too, so that's freaking him out a little bit because there used to be other stuff in that corner there where the clock is now, and that was, he used to go to the window all the time and look out the window, and can't really do that anymore. He's still a little freaked out by the clock because it makes noise, both with the ticking and the movement inside, and then the random chimes, or at least random so far as he knows. They'll get used to it though. The clock that I used to have up there, that will be up there again, had chimes on it, and that one never really bothered them that much. Yeah, it was a nice drive. There were a lot of times where it was just me out on the road, nobody in sight. Oops. How's the family? My sister is doing well. Her kids are doing well. Her husband's doing well. Um, it was fun to be able to see cousins that I haven't seen in a long time. In They came from Minnesota and San Diego, and my uncle came from Minnesota for the funeral. Both uncles actually, one on each side of the family. And my cousin Jana, she came out, and her daughter Anna came out, and it was fun to see all them. I hadn't seen most of them in a long time. And I had cousins that came up from San Diego and Victorville, uh, who were from like my mom's side of the family. It was great seeing them. No, I don't. I don't think Bite will jump on the clock. I don't think he can get up. He's too old to jump up. And the top of the clock is probably 6 feet off the ground. He couldn't do that when he was a kitten. Yeah, I mean, my family. I know my family. Some of my family watches. My mom watched it. My dad watched it. I know my uncle, my mom's brother, watches it. He talks about things that I've done before. In fact, I've done a couple of family recipes that I got from his wife. So, I know he's a supporter and he watches. He doesn't comment ever, but he'll talk to me about things that he liked and stuff like that. So I'll tell you though that I don't know if I've ever said this before. My father, one of the times I visited him before he passed, I had just done that video on the lynching of Jesse Washington in the Waco horror, like 100 years ago, and I visited him like in California a week or two after that video went live, and he said he was concerned that maybe I shouldn't have done that video just because it might anger the city of Waco that I'm bringing up stuff like that. And I said, no, I don't think that's going to be the issue. The city of Waco actually helped me make the video. They provided some information that I was able to put in the video, and the city of Waco has completely come to accept responsibility for what it did 100 years ago, and they've acknowledged it and called it what it was, a horrible stain in our history. And, we've got a historical marker now out in front of the courthouse commemorating the event. So, it's, I never felt that there was going to be any blowback from the city over that, and I vowed that I was going to show you my city, warts and all. Some of this have been some very exciting things, gunfights that have happened, biker gang wars, all sorts of stuff. Well, I mean, if my uncle ever pops up on the chat, I'll let you know. No, I'm not worried about the clock being near the window. First off, the window is always closed, so it isn't like a light issue. Second of all, there isn't going to be any sun coming through that window. And third of all, these are really, really quality windows. Uh, the people that owned this house before me replaced the windows at some point, and they bought top of the line windows. So no, I don't think there's going to be any issue there. They're double pane windows. They'll be fine. I should ask my uncle to call in and chat sometime. That would be fun. Yeah, I mean, he knows my number if he wanted to call in. If he's watching and wants to call, your cat's there meowing his head off, huh? Well, you better make sure you keep track of the head so you can put it back on again. Are you concerned that there's only one cat there? Because I can do something about that. That's right, I just did that. Maybe that'll coax Bite to come back out here too. Yeah, I see him peering around the corner now. There's Bite. But that's always going to come so far, I think. Cats in Waco unite. That was what the goal was, Ron, to get all the cats there at once. Are they all meowing at you? I don't know. I'll have to look outside the front door, see if there's any cats there. Probably not. Hey, Bite, you want to come and visit? I got the brush. Imagine how good that would feel. Oh, he's over here. Usually when he circles the couch, that means he's going to come up and visit us. So let's see what happens here. He's He's at his entry point here. Let's see if he actually comes on up. Come on, buddy. Here he comes. There he is. He's back. Ew. You just drool sprinklered me again, didn't you? All the drool in your jowls, you shake your head and it goes everywhere like a sprinkler. Gotta dry my hand off now because of you. Yes, I do. Yeah, I'm not really so concerned about leaving the cat for 7 or 8 days, which is what they were done. But when I went to California a year ago or 2 years ago, I was gone for 2 weeks, and that was a little bit more. So I had them check in on them from time to time. I actually got the lowest level of service because these guys aren't very affectionate to strangers to begin with. I just needed somebody to come in from time to time, make sure they're all right. And it was fun. It was fun. It was funny because a couple times they'd come in, they couldn't even find them. They couldn't find one or the other. And I told them where their common hiding places were. Bite and Nibble both like to go into the bathtub, in the bathroom, or hide behind the toilet, or hide somewhere else in the house. I don't know. It doesn't feel like love, Susan. It feels like drool. No, you didn't provide a towel. That's what's so rude. Which rock are you talking about, Angela? The one on the cover photo? Ooh, you did it again. You're a drool sprinkler. Yes, you are. How do I do the cover photos like for the live streams? I just snap it on the phone, edit it into the right size of Photoshop, and away we go. Kitten sleeping on your feet. Do you have more kittens? Yeah, that's the look of a content kitty. Usually, he's not a big fan of being held, but he puts up with it for the belly rubs. Where's Nibbles? She's just in her room, probably taking a nap. It's a time. It's one of those times when I'm home where she can count on the fact she can take a nap without being bothered. All right, one down. I'm 3/4 of the way through the live stream, so I gotta kick it up a little bit here. We're losing Gene to church again. Yeah, have a good church. Yeah, well, Bite will eventually get used to them. Right now, it's just something new that's a little unfamiliar. You're on your new phone, huh? I have my newish phone. It isn't that new, but I'm not on my phone. If anything, my phone's on me. That's right. I got to do silly jokes. I'd be concerned about being on my phone. I'd break the glass. That's right. I just did a fat joke. iPhone, huh? You're an iPhone person? Yeah, I've been Android since the beginning. Yeah, me too. I'm not necessarily anti-Apple. I just, I leaned to the PC world early on. I mean, we had an Apple IIe when I was a kid. My dad had one. Uh, but when I got my first computer, it was a IBM PC running DOS 3.0. That was before we even had Windows. Windows actually existed at the time, but it was really, really primitive. Commodore 64, there you go. I think the first version of Windows I ever messed with was Windows 2. First one I ever owned a copy of was Windows 3.0, 3.1, 4, 5. I think at that point they moved on to 95, 98, that stuff. You still have Windows 98 on your laptop. Windows 98 was a good operating system. Yeah, Nibble is still in her room. I mean, I saw her this morning. She's all right. She's just not very sociable. I use my laptop a lot too, but for like most of the editing, I use the desktop. That's the way to do it. And that's where I got all the storage too. I got probably, up top there, probably, yeah, it's good. Yeah, never give you a weather reporter. Sorry. I got probably 20 terabytes of hard drive space up there, maybe more. Probably way more, actually. Probably closer to 30 terabytes. Yeah, the only underwater camera I have is my GoPro. The girls have iPads. Actually, I got a couple iPads now because I inherited a couple of my dad's old iPads, a couple of my mom's old iPads, and my mom's phone. So I'm going to plug them into the computer just to see if there's anything on them that I want to keep. The technology is ancient to the extreme, but hopefully we can retrieve anything off of them. When my dad passed away, I got his laptop and his desktop computer, and those were treasure troves of photos that I would manage to grab and get a hold of. So, a lot of the photos I have from my parents, I got, you know, because I got the physical photos from them, or because I got digital photos off of my dad's laptop and desktop. And of course, I got a whole bunch of new photos from my mom too. She had a whole bunch of stuff I haven't even had a chance to dig through and sort through yet. But there's stuff there that I hadn't seen before. And I got like death certificates for my mom, for my dad, for my grandparents, stuff that that I didn't even know existed that my mom had. One point when my dad's family immigrated to the U.S., they changed their name to Roll. Uh, the original name my grandparents had, and before, was Spatovsky. So they decided that sounded too ethnic. They wanted to become Americans, so they changed their name to Roll. And it's kind of funny because I found the document from the government where they legally changed that name from Spatovsky to Roll. So that's a really cool thing to have. Trying to get the DVD player to talk to the TV. You mean wirelessly or just plugging it in? Apparently, you're Dutch, huh? I'm trying to figure out how to even pronounce that. Villager? Is that how it's pronounced? Villager? I don't know. Villager, huh? Or do I have to pronounce E to the E's because I have to go Villager? Sorry, gotta be silly. That's why you tune in, right? Never seen anywhere but your birth certificate. Well, it's good you have your birth certificate then. No, Nibble's around. She just doesn't come out and say hi very much. We can go say hi to her if you want. Plug here again. Let's go see Nibble. Yeah, there's Nibble just taking a nap. She's a sweet little kitty. She's just very, very timid. waiting for her brother to come back and take a nap with her. So yeah, Nibble's all right. Gotta check from time to time though, right? Gotta verify it to her fans. To her tens of fans, huh? Ah, plug back in here. If I can reach the power cord. There's the power cord. And the ejector seat for trolls. The one with the sparkles, this is the rock you like. With all the bling in it. Look at all the colors in that. It's a beautiful piece. So now you know kind of why I had to get that, right? Would I go back to the Grand Canyon? I mean, I've visited the San Andreas Fault. I mean, that's only exciting when the Earth is shaking, and frankly, I don't like being there when the Earth is shaking. But plus, it's a little hard to predict when that might happen. Grand Canyon, I would definitely visit the Grand Canyon. Yeah, the outside of the house I call my Brady Bunch house. The inside of the house it's a Chili's. And you're right, it's a man cave. Charlotte has a ribbon that looks like my rock, huh? That's cool. Do the donkey ride in the canyon? Yeah, I don't know, maybe. Because what better way to remember the Grand Canyon by looking at a donkey's butt? No, I'm not really particularly that religious. And no, I don't go to a church. Helicopter ride would be fun. Never ridden a motorcycle, but I saw Jordan got one a couple years ago. I don't know if he rides it very much, but it would be fun to maybe go 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 tour around on a motorcycle on some nice warm day. I'm not opposed to the idea. It hasn't been very high on my priority list. Go ride with Rhonda, huh? Well, I think that would be my concern about a motorcycle is laying it down while I'm riding it. Hey, whatever works for you. I sometimes find that if you're going to go the Apple route, you need to go the Apple route all the way. So if you're going to have an iPhone, you want to do anything digitally with it, you're going to have to, plug it into an Apple computer, into a Mac or something like that. I know you can plug it into a PC, but it's not always exactly the same. But since I'm a PC person, Androids just seem to make sense to me. You got one Harley, but you want to buy another, huh? Meet up at the Grand Canyon. That'd be fun. It only hurts for a bit. Are you speaking from experience? Thank you, Gene. Yeah, I enjoyed going to the Meteor Crater. Stay tuned for a visit to the Carlsbad Caverns. That's going to be the next video that comes up. I was hoping to have it up today. Wanted to have it up, when the live stream was over, but it took too long. I didn't get a chance to get it edited. That one's going to be a long video because I filled up my SD card on that. And now that I'm not doing a video like 3 times a week, just doing one when I have them, that leaves it more open where I can do nice long videos. The Meteor Crater and the Petrified Forest videos were both longer than 20 minutes, which is a long video for me. And I think one of them, I think it was the Meteor Crater one, was actually 30 minutes. And I'm guessing the Carlsbad Cavern will blow that one out of the water. I'm guessing 45 minutes to an hour on that one. The caverns are beautiful. You should, Rhonda. You ought to load your videos. If you're shooting videos, you ought to put them on a channel, on a YouTube channel. Just put them up there. You never know. XP was a good operating system. I still got a computer that's running a variant of XP. Yeah, GoPros are the way to go for like motorcycle riding and stuff like that. Silicon Valley or Washington? Does it have to be one or the other? I mean, Washington State is a beautiful place. If you're talking Washington, D.C., I don't know. There's some history there that I'd enjoy doing, but I don't know if I'd like being that close to some of these idiots. Windows ME. Oh man. Now we've talked about good operating systems. Well, there's good operating systems, and then there's Windows ME. That one was a joke. It was a joke even at the time. Windows Vista. That was another joke too. I remember that. Around that time, Windows had an every other operating system issue where one was good and then the next one would be horrible and the one after that be good. And it really dates back to the DOS days. DOS 3 was okay. DOS 3.1 was good. DOS 4 sucked. DOS 5 was good. At that point, they started moving to Windows. Windows 3 was okay. 3.1 was better. Windows 4 was sucked. Windows 5 was pretty good. Then they moved on to 95. 95 was good. 98 was better. Then they started to go into ME. That one was a joke. and Windows 2000 was decent. XP was good. Um, I can't remember what the other ones are. Vista, somebody mentioned Vista. Vista was kind of a joke. Windows 7 was pretty good. Windows 8, not so much. Then they jumped to 10. 10 is pretty good. And they've been pushing me to try and update to 11 now, but I don't think I want to do that. Yeah, Bill Gates is way more dangerous than Kermit. I'm running Windows 10 on this laptop. I don't really have a whole lot of problems with it. It's pretty solid. Best thing Elvis ever did was buying Apple computers. Apple computers are good computers. They used to be really great for like graphics. If you're doing video or Photoshop or anything like that, you needed to have an Apple computer, a Mac. Um, Windows kind of caught up, and I the thing I like about Windows is it's a little bit more universal. I always use the example. We had a Fry's Electronics near where I lived in California, and I'd go into the PC section, and the PC section was like 10 rows where they have row after row after row after row after row of PCs. And, that you could pick from laptops, desktops, towers, whatever you wanted. And then you go to the Mac section. It was one aisle. They had about three different models to choose from. And I remember one point I went into the Fry's and I found the best top of the line computer I could of a Mac and a PC. And I looked at it, and the PC was half the price of the top of the line Mac, and it had way, way, way more stuff in it. So I don't know. That's my thing. Also, since everything is really expensive because it's all tied to the Apple name, whereas the PC, started out with the IBM PC, but there was enough open architecture on there that all sorts of companies, got into making hardware. Now, sometimes that created problems with incompatibility, but over time, um, even that got better. And with more competition, the prices were level lower. You could get more software. So I was always a PC person for that reason. You broke your hubby's laptop. Rhonda, Rhonda, Rhonda. Yeah, I miss Fry's. I think Fry's is gone now. Yeah, Nibble just tends to hang out in her room, but she's a sweet little kitty. Yeah, I guess I don't remember the games they gave away in Serial years ago. I got that rocket Meteor Crater. Yeah, yeah. Bill Gates is allegedly have gone to Epstein's Island. Well, it isn't forcing you to use Bing. It's just it makes it hard to change away. You could switch it if you want. Because I'm operating on an HP laptop also, and I'm not using either Bing's or Chrome for my browser. I'm using Firefox. Yeah, like I said, they keep pestering me to update this laptop to 11, but I don't want to do it because one of the things that you run into with upgrades to the software is that it tends to, do what they call code bloat, where the software gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and it needs more resources to do what it needs to do. And sometimes, my Windows 10 laptop isn't up to, running Windows 11 with all the code bloat and all the new stuff that's in it. So my next laptop or desktop will probably have 11 on it, but at this point, I'm not interested in upgrading. Yeah, I have no interest in eating either plant-based or bug-based meat. And yeah, Bill Gates is way into that, but he's also a degrowther too, and that's scary too. Well, that's another reason too to hold off on upgrades to software. You got to let them give them a chance to get the bugs out of it. I run into the same thing with the printer that I have. Every few days, I'm getting a request to update the firmware or the software or the drivers for the printer, and it makes me think it's like, what's wrong with this printer that needs updates more often than the operating system does? I mean, the operating system, I do an upgrade, maybe half a dozen times a year, but it's a freaking printer for God's sakes. Well, I don't know. I don't have a lot of money, and I'm still pretty strange. Yeah, probably me too, VNA. I always think of this as my new laptop, but the truth is, I've been running this laptop now for almost 5 years. That's a good reason to close the schools. It was great seeing you too, Rhonda. Good talking to you. Yeah, I tended to just try places. When I was in Barstow for that aborted museum visit, I found a great little Mexican place just like half a mile down the road from that was really really good. And I basically just ate at diners and stuff like that. Nothing. I mean, I ate at IHOP once. I think that was the morning I went to the caverns. But other than that, I tried to find some just little. one-off diner or something like that. Those were good. Bye, Charlotte and Logan. I'm glad you talked to my mom. I know she enjoys talking to you too, and I'm glad I'm home too. Well, that was one of the concerns they had with, my sister had and her father and her husband had with me driving home, is they were concerned I was going to go through Tahoe, and Tahoe going over the hills there. That was um, snow, or you had to have chains to do that, and I didn't have chains on the vehicle, so fortunately I went far enough south. I crossed, uh, almost made it down past Vegas before I crossed into Arizona. What's on the menu tonight? I got some rainbow trout at the grocery store a couple weeks ago, and I pulled out a slab of that, and I think we're going to put that on the grill. Yeah, I think we're supposed to be like into the 50s during the day. Yeah, I went across the Continental Divide. There's a lot of beautiful stuff. I'm going to be posting a video in a day or two or three or something like that, that I'm going to call America the Beautiful. And it's just me putting the camera on the dashboard and just driving for a minute or two or five and just looking at the scenery. It's not even going to be me talking very much. It's just going to be footage of the drive home. Can't go wrong with pepperoni pizza. I love pizza. Coming up on 2 hours. Well, I just thought it was really interesting all the different kinds of environments there were. There were valleys and hills and mesas and buttes and desert and hill country and rivers and all that stuff in between, that I saw, and it was really fun to see all that. I never really thought I'd enjoy driving to around that much, but I had a blast doing it when I did it 2 years ago when I went to my mom's birthday, and that was all. I might not have done that if it hadn't been for Flash, but it was fun seeing the country that way. You can fly over it, but it isn't the same. Flash has been, well, I mean, Flash is hibernating right now, so fortunately, it's been really, really cold out. So she's been in the garage since before I went to California, and that's the place for her to be when she's hibernating, and it's really, really cold out. I don't want her being outside when it's 20 degrees out because she'll freeze. But if in the garage. The garage is kind of protected and it's up against the house, so you get a little heat leakage from the house, and the furnace is right there in the garage, right next to her. So the garage stays at the coldest about 50 degrees, and that's perfect for her to hibernate. It's cold enough to keep her quiet and asleep, and warm enough so she doesn't freeze. I do think I'm going to move her outside though when the temperature gets up into the 50s. That way, if she does decide she wants to come out, I don't think she will when it's in the 50s, but if she decides she wants to come out, she can. Right now, she's just in the storm shelter in the garage, in her box. Every once in a while, I check on her just to make sure she's okay. Well, I put in my 2 hours. Seems like the conversation's kind of died off a little bit. So I think I'm going to pull the plug on this one. We'll pick this up again next week and continue from there. But until then, thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you next time. Good night.